see the land, the empty land to your right hand side? This area called Area C. For the Palestinian people, just not allowed to build anything here, forbidden for them, okay? Because this land under the Israel control. Area C. Yeah. No buildings. You will see a few houses, it's all the houses before 67. Yeah. You see, all houses before. It's very nice area. And the border here in front of you to the left. This is the border between Israel and Palestine, or between West Bank or Area A. Israel checkpoint. Now we are in West Bank. We share the roads. Yeah, also this road, yeah. And you will see it from inside Bethlehem also. Now we are in an area called West Bank. We share the roads, Israel and Palestine together, just under the Israel control. Maybe you will see cars with different plates, white and green numbers, and the yellow numbers is Israel. Be happy you are in the Holy Land. Abraham, the prophet, the father of the prophets, climbed these mountains to Hebron, more salt. He climbed this mountain, he walked. Abraham, yeah, the father of the prophets. And he buried in Hebron, city Hebron, you know? Yeah. And we go to visit the city of Jesus or city of King David also, born near Bethlehem. now we switch the buses. We take the 2 cars.
We're gonna visit 3 locations this city, okay? So always stick together and always follow me, okay? Because sometimes locations are all very busy and it's easy to get lost, okay? So always stick together and always follow me. Where are you from?
Australia.
Australia, Canada,
England.
England. Okay, follow me.
So we got one bus from Israel and now we're in the West Bank, and we had to change bus once we arrived, and been travelling down the mountainside for ages, and now we are going into the first of the things that we're seeing. This says it's the shepherd's field.
Well, maybe they just didn't stop us. It's a bit like when we were on the bus the other day coming up by the Dead Sea.
There's some really remarkable cliffs, and as far as we can see, everything's been built upon.
Oh, really? Yes. Well, we're actually slightly hybrid because we live in the UK. The kids are all from the UK. Oh, okay. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I've got sort of second cousins and so on still out there. And yeah, I mean, I moved to England when I was 4. So yeah, Sydney, and I've got a half brother in Melbourne. Oh, okay. Well, no, he was in Melbourne, but he's moved. He's now in Geelong. Oh, okay. So we live in the fields.
Anyone else I haven't marked yet?
And my cousin lives in
Cameroon.
Oh, we don't.
We've gone the wrong way.
They all look the same.
Not quite sure what we're walking to. We'll find out.
Yes, there's some Christmas decorations. Oh, walking to a shrine of some kind.
Looks like a shrine.
How many days have you been here?
The Palestinian flag, Jerusalem cross, and a papal. Looks like a papal flag.
Okay. So guys, of course, welcome to the city of Bethlehem. Now, we're gonna spot 3 locations, as I told you. The first location is this one, which we call it the shepherd's field. Now, if you follow the Bible of Luke, chapter 2, verse 8, it talks about the place where the angel appears to the local shepherds and blesses them with the message that Jesus has been born. So from here, the shepherds, they receive the good news, the blessing, to go and see Jesus. So they walk from here to the other side of Bethlehem. Exactly behind you have another hill. On the other hill there is the Church of Nativity, which has the cave there to Jesus. They see Jesus and they come back here because this is where they used to live. All of these fields are called the shepherd's field. Of course, comparing 2,000 years ago is different than today. You can imagine, caves with the animals and these things. That's how they used to live. And we have this chapel behind you, called the Chapel of the Angel, built back in the 50s. The chapel has 3 paintings explaining about the biblical events that happened in this place. And after the chapel, we will check the cave. Will be the first cave to see here in Bethlehem. We call it the Cave of the Shepherds. We'll be seeing 3 caves here in Bethlehem, and the 3 will look alike because the 3 caves you will realize that they're all from limestone. These type of stones, we call it the limestones. Actually, the whole Middle East is built of limestone. So wherever you go, you will realize the same things. Because I'll give you 5 minutes inside, check the chapel, and then we go to the cave, okay?
Thank you.
There you go. Take a picture, and then we go.
Come on. So this is where the angel came to tell the shepherds that Jesus was born. Just like, is it
Visitors allowed.
No, the Bible doesn't say, but we imagine it's Gabriel.
no, what was your name? Camille said that this area was like caves though. So it wasn't like
Gabriel. Take pictures up there, Olivia. Olivia, take pictures of the dog. We are walking to the cave. From the first church that we saw. Down we go. Don't know if you can see. A bit difficult to make it out, but there's some pretty amazing scenery out there. This place must get very busy in summer. Minutes only.
This is how caves look like, let's say. Natural caves, thousands of years. Like this painting, you can imagine how the angel blessed the shepherds with the blessing that Jesus has been born. So from here, let's say, we can imagine the shepherds living with the animals. They get the message, they walk to the other side of Bethlehem. They see Jesus in the cave, and then they come back here because this is where they used to live, in caves. Now, shepherds are considered poor and humble people. So for them, living in a cave is like living in a house. Now, rich people is not different. Rich people will also use caves, but as basements. So in general, you're rich or you are poor, a cave is something important for you in your life. So this is how people used to live. So this is the first cave you see here in Bethlehem. The cave of the milk grotto, and we go to the second location. At the Church of Nativity, you'll find the same caves because they all look alike. Natural stones. And of course, the most important thing, although this is not a religious tour, depending, let's say, even if you're religious or not, it's nice to feel the place, not just to see the place. What I mean by we all have eyes and we all see. But the question is, can we feel? Or we just saw from our eyes? That's a big difference between seeing something and seeing something from your heart. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not, it's nice to feel where we were.
So this is supposed to be a cave where the
Shepherds
shepherds
used
live?
to live, 100%. Yes. Like this image, we can imagine how the biblical event happened in this place.
And how many shepherds would live in a cave?
Shepherds, no, that's a good question. Shepherds, let's say from 7 to 15.
Oh, right.
So we can imagine 7 or 10. Of course, today the cave is restored, but you can imagine going more deep. And it fits. You know, they are poor people, so they won't take too much space. They won't squeeze themselves with their animals.
Would their families live here as well?
We heard earlier that this cave has been restored. So it's quite typical of what we used to have at the time, 2,000 years ago roughly. It's probably a bit smaller than it used to be. It may have gone back deeper.
The important thing is to feel where we were, not just to see where we were.
The guide's saying it's important to feel where we are, not just to see it.
Herod the Great got mad when he heard that the king was born, because he was the king of the Jews and the Romans. So when he heard that a king was born, he got mad. He didn't like any more competitions. So he decides to kill all the infant children and to kill Jesus. So the angel appears to Joseph and tells him, "Take the Holy Family and escape." So the Holy Family, they escaped to Egypt for 3 years. This is what the Bible says. What does the milk grotto has to do with everything? Now, according to traditions, on the way to Egypt, there was an actual cave down here, next to the birth of Jesus. After this part, we're going to go to the church, which is next door. So, in this cave, the Virgin Mary, she was resting. She just had a baby, she was tired. Now, during this process, she has to nurse Jesus. While nursing Jesus, Danny dropped off the milk, dropped on the floor, and converted the cave into white color due to the milk. So the cave will be colored white because of the milk that spoiled and saved from nurturing Jesus. So we see the second cave here in Bethlehem will be colored white because of the milk. Let's check the cave. This place was created by the Crusaders in the 12th century. It was sold by the Franciscan Catholic possibly in the 19th century. That's crowded here. Yes, yes.
This is a cave where they rested the Holy Family, Joseph, Mary and Jesus. And Mary spilled some milk in here and it became white. I'm not sure why. We'll find out.
What was coloured milk before? What was some coloured milk before?
Okay guys, look at the
The milk
cave.
was white.
All the cave is white.
So the cave wasn't meant to be white, but because some milk spilled on the floor, they say it made the whole cave white. It's like magic.
Is that true?
We don't know, it's a story.
Guys, you will only see this painting here. I'm sure you have never seen such a painting because it only exists in this location. The Virgin Mary nursing Jesus only exists in this portion of the land. I'm sure it's the first time you see a painting of the Virgin Mary nursing Jesus. Watch your head.
Yes.
See guys, it is one.
Stand near it.
And it's the same thing as the
They think it's tradition. It's not actually. Whereas the next place we're going to actually is the birthplace of Jesus. Look, he's going backwards
For the whole way.
the whole way.
Wow.
That part's not.
No, I think God is brave.
This time we're in the front. Yeah.
It says no smoking. Can't smoke. Which is not good. Just walk in cars. There's a cars.
We're going backwards in all the way down the mountain.
All the way we came.
Really?
Down this hill. I can't do it.
No.
I used that double for him.
Oh my god. I would be so scared to do this. It looks like this is nothing. It looks like we're falling.
Nice grapes.
With the Muslim spray, and on the left is the municipality where the mayor governs the city. This is the main plaza of Bethlehem. And behind us we have the Church of Nativity. Let's
Daddy?
have a better look.
Daddy,
Hmm?
is this where all the motels would be?
Yeah.
And all of them are full?
That's what it says. It's what we believe. Look at all these cars, all squashed in.
There's the church. If you look at the church, from the outside, it doesn't look like a church, it looks like a fortress. Imagine this church. I told you, right? I'm gonna keep your mom busy. The only place that was never destroyed is this church. The Church of Nativity is the only church that was never destroyed. We call it the oldest active church in the world. Oldest active. From the 4th century to this day, this church was never destroyed and is still active daily for mass processions every single day. Today, the church is being renovated by UNESCO since it was mentioned as World Heritage by them. So since 2013, UNESCO artists are doing the job to renovate the church. So you will see restorations going inside the Church of Nativity. So this place will be even more crowded, you know, it's the church with the Nativity, so it'll be extremely crowded. It's easy to get lost, so guys, always stick together, okay? It's very important. I'll give you time for everything, but always follow me. Come, let's go. Let's try, let's get lucky.
This is the Church of the Nativity, and it was the only church that was never destroyed.
And it's being renovated now by UNESCO.
And
So it's from the 4th century,
tour guide said that
and
it doesn't look
it's
like
believed to be the oldest church in the world.
oldest working church. And he said that this doesn't look like a church.
It's the second church.
Is in the inside. Yeah, Mommy.
So the main entrance back in the Byzantine time was 6 meters high. This was then with time it got reduced. The door got reduced to create the arch. 3 meters high to say the tank 12 centimeters. And then with time the door got minimized to 130 centimeters high. We call it the humble door. This is the humble door. First respect, you have to be humble, to bow. And the second was Bethlehem market was located here. Imagine a market in a church, it doesn't make sense. So watch your head, you know it's gonna hit your head. And if your head hit your head, I'll be waiting you in the other world. So watch your head when you step inside.
Okay, you guys.
Would I be able to distribute?
From the Ottomans. They did it very small because in the Ottomans.
Keep together.
Guys, watch your head, very important.
Keep together. Eloise doesn't need to. You need to.
I do.
Central Asia.
It's not a thing. Church of Nativity is about two churches in one place. This is the Byzantine Church of Constantine that dates 1,700 years old. And we have the Catholic Church next door. So two churches in one place. Orthodox and Catholics.
This is
Orthodox. Unfortunately, 200 years ago, the church had a problem who wants to control the church and the cave birth of Jesus. So rather than sharing the spot, they split. That's why we have two churches, and unfortunately now we have two caves. We don't have two caves, we have one cave, but rather than sharing it, they put the wall inside the cave,
right.
so we have two entrances to the
keen
cave.
on walls, aren't they?
Yeah, we love walls.
So
We are human.
this is the Orthodox part. Do we get to see the Catholic part?
Yeah, of course. Just wait, you're jumping it. Wait.
Okay.
So guys, from the Orthodox section, the lines are long. As I could see, the lines start all the way to go to the corner there, which I'm hearing is like 2 hours in the line. 2 hours in the line. Now from the Catholic entrance, which was the same cave but from the other side of the wall, let's say. Depending on the cave, sometimes it's blocked due to masses. Sometimes it's available. If it's open, perfect. You can get lucky and blessed. That will be perfect. So let's wish that the Catholic section is open, because from here you need showers and it'll be too much time for you then.
Can we go down and take a photo?
We'll go. But first let's start with the Catholic section, then we come.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this place. Let's start with the Catholic. Come guys, follow me.
Olivia.
This is the fastest tour I've ever been on in my whole life.
Concentrate on where you're going.
So whatever you want.
Come and sit here, because you might just fall over.
Okay, everybody's here, perfect. The cave is open, perfect. They have a mass. This cave fits for 2 masses. You can hear one there, another one there. So this portion is empty, because sometimes when they have mass here, the whole cave is blocked. So guys, this is the 3rd cave to see here at Bethlehem. If you realize, they're all the same. Did you realize that? The shepherd's cave is the same. The Mount Grotto cave is the same, and Jesus' cave is the same, because everything is from limestone. Whenever you want to go through the whole country, you will always find the same cave. The house of the Virgin Mary was a cave. The evangelists used caves. The saints, caves. Everybody lived and used caves. So this is how Jesus was born. Now, if you follow the Bible says Jesus was born in a manger. And doesn't say what does a manger mean, and the Bible doesn't tell you where in Bethlehem. So we have to figure it out. First of all, we depend on the Roman Empire, from the Roman Emperor Adrianus in the year 135 AD, which means 1,900 years ago, we have evidence of the cave. Adrianus was the governor in the area of Bethlehem, and he located the birth cave of Jesus. Now we know what is the cave. Now, what does a manger mean? That's a great question. The manger is about a cave. We were taught when we were kids that the manger is a piece of, let's say, it's like a plate, Jesus and the animals. Yes, we can imagine these things, but it happened inside the cave. Now, a manger, as a manger, exactly, like the shepherds, the same thing. Now, the name of the manger, let's say a manger, replica of a manger, we don't have. There's a replica in Rome from the 12th century Crusader times. It's a Roman, it's funny that the manger is in Rome, it's not here. But yes, it's a replica in Rome, not in Bethlehem. The Crusaders, when they lost the war, they took many things with them. The crosses, the clothes of Jesus, and also the manger. They took it to Rome. So we have the cave birth of Jesus. Now, unfortunately, since we have two custodies, first custody was the Orthodox custody, which is the Byzantine Church. Now, although we switched the church, if you realize, we switched the church to go to the cave. We entered from the Catholic Church to go to the cave. Now we are exactly under the Orthodox Church. Remember the humble though that was stepped into the church? We are exactly under that church. And we switched entrance. I was a little bit confused. It's confusing, yes. We switched church to go to the same church under it. Now, where is everybody queuing? Behind this wall. Focus well. This is natural. This is not natural. Look, these look like bricks put in. This wall was put in 200 years ago to separate the cave, not to share the cave. At that time, when Adrianus mentioned the cave birth of Jesus, and when Constantine came to build the church, we always had 7 caves. So rather than sharing between the Orthodox and the Catholics the caves and the church, they split. That's why we have 2 churches, and that's why we call that we have 2 caves. This won't change everything. Now we have 6 caves here and 1 in the Orthodox section. Now, which is which, it doesn't matter because the same cave, we created the division. We divided everything. We put this wall, not Jesus and not everybody else, we humans. Now, what's on the other side, why people say everybody's queuing there, when they split to make tourism for both sides, in the other section, the Orthodox put on the floor the symbol of a silver star, symbolizing the Virgin Mary gave birth. The symbol of a silver star, put in 200 years ago. It's a symbol, okay, but it doesn't make sense. Just 200 years ago, we have the exact millimeter where the Virgin Mary gave birth to Jesus. It's nonsense. I'm a good Christian Catholic, but it doesn't make sense that we know literally where the Virgin Mary gave birth to Jesus. It's like when you were born. I was born in Bethlehem. I was born in a hospital here. I wasn't born in a hospital called St. Anne, number 5, bed number 3. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense you were born in the city, and let's say which hospital. It doesn't make sense which type of bed and what room and which meter next to it. It's funny. This is like Jesus. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. The Bible doesn't say where, but we know where. It's this cave. And we don't know which corner the Virgin Mary gave birth. It's ridiculous. There was no cameras there. We know the cave, yes. Adrianus told us about the cave. Constantine built the church about the cave. But then we split everything because we want power, we want control between Orthodox and Catholics. They split rather than share. And guys, as I told you, although this tour is not a religious tour, it's more nice to feel where we were. Because at the end you're looking at stones, and Jesus won't come to you and tell you, did you see my cave? Or he will tell you, did you feel my cave? That's a big difference between seeing the stone and feeling the stone. Now guys, from this corridor, there's a door with holes you can peek the Orthodox cave. Check the whole caves in general. Whenever you finish, I'll give you like 10 minutes. You can feel the place, 10 minutes. Whenever you finish, we exit from the same stairs, okay? We exit from the same stairs. 10 minutes, take your time.
Do we meet in the church?
Yes, up the church in 10 minutes.
The, careful, look where you're going.
We are all human. We all love this church. So guys, this church was built in the year 326, 4th century by Constantine as an octagon shape with 9 columns in each line at that time. 9, 9, 9, 9. And the main floor is this floor. Mosaics from the 4th century, put in 1,700 years ago. Very small pieces of stone the size of a tooth. Now, this church is being renovated by UNESCO. That's why we're restoring some portions like this one. They're restoring another one on the other side. The church is mostly almost finished. So in less than 1 year they will finish everything. Now guys, unfortunately this church had 3 attempts to destroy it. And the 3 failed. That's why we call it the oldest church in the world. Now the first attempt to destroy the church came in the 6th century, and it came by the Samaritans. They were paying extra tax to the Byzantine Empire. So they protested and they wanted to destroy this church. Now, since they could not destroy it, they burned it down. The whole complete church got fully burned in the 6th century. Nevertheless, it was renovated for the first time ever in the 6th century, but by another Byzantine emperor called Justinian, who came and fixed the church. So he changed it to a cross-shaped church. Now this church looks like a cross. And he adds 3 more columns to make it bigger. Now we have 12 columns in each line. And that's when this floor was put in. This floor is from the 6th century, not from the 4th century. This one is the real one. Whenever you want to dig here also, you will find the same floor. Mosaics, can you imagine? Now, the second attempt to destroy the church came in the 7th century, and this time it came by the Persians. Now they do not believe in God, they believe in the gods. They came and they wiped everything from this land, except this church. Now why would the church survive again? Back in that time on the main facade that we stepped in, there was a painting showing 3 wise men. The 3 wise men that were painted wearing traditional Persian clothes. When the Persian army came to attack the church and they saw the same clothes painted, they got shocked and confused, thinking they had a temple or family members. So due to the confusion and respect, they did not touch this church. So the church survives for the 2nd time. Now for the 3rd time and last time.
Are they still there?
It doesn't exist. They robbed it, but it's okay. Yeah, at least they saved the church. It's okay they robbed it. Yeah, they robbed it. Now the 3rd attempt to destroy this church came also in the 7th century, but this time it came by the Muslims. But the Christians, they lose the war. You know, through history, when you lose a war, you lose your own position. So, in order not to lose the church or to convert it into a mosque, the Christians had to make a sacrifice. Now, when the plaza, you spot the mosque in front. At that time, there was no mosque. There was a church called John the Baptist. But due to the sacrifice, the Christians take it down to give the portion of the land for them to set our church here. That's why the mosque is built in front, not here. And until this day, we have the ruins of the church underneath the mosque. But for example, now me as a local Christian, it's complicated to step inside a mosque. I forgot to tell you, welcome to the Middle East. We live in harmony and democracy. So 3 attempts failed to destroy this church. That's why we call it the oldest active. Active because until this day, they pray in the cave and in the altar every single day, normal. This church never stopped praising God. Every day, processions, masses, normal. Funeral, weddings, normal. Now we continue more with the history. In the 12th century, the Crusaders show up. The Crusaders, they come from 5 European countries and they had money. So they inspired the church with impressive mosaics. The mosaics above were put in 1,000 years ago by the Crusaders, which were recently renovated by UNESCO artists. And most of the columns will be painted. They are soldiers, saints, and kings painted 1,000 years ago by the Crusaders. Soldiers, saints, and kings. Unfortunately, that's what's left of the mosaics. The rest were robbed and vandalized by the Turkish Ottoman Empire. Now, from the 16th to the 20th century, here we're under the Turkish Ottoman Empire. Genocides, killings, vandalism, racism, and massive immigrations of Christian families from here to North and South America. So many Christian families had to leave and immigrate. That's why Christians of Bethlehem today barely mark 10%. In the whole country of Israel, we only have 2% Christians. Now the Ottoman Empire, they robbed the mosaic, they robbed the gold of the capitals of the columns. They used to be all gold, and the gold of the Orthodox altar. Now, since this church is a Byzantine church, the Byzantine ritual style is Orthodox. Like Russia, Greece, Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Serbia, Georgia, Orthodox Christian countries. It's the same faith like the Catholic custody, but different rituals. Unfortunately, 200 years ago, they didn't have something to share with, so they split. That's why we have 2 churches and 2 caves. What can we do? Let's go to the middle so we can take more of the church. Yeah, guys, you can see more of it.
Will you come back this way?
Yes.
Okay, we'll stay here.
Maybe she wants water.
No, she's a type 1 diabetic, so she needs it. That's fine.
Greece, Ukraine, Romania. No statue system. Look at the main cross. Jesus is painted, crucified. Don't see his body on the cross. In the church of Nativity, you'll see the Jesus on the cross. You'll see statue system. The Virgin Mary, she's painted. Jesus is painted. The evangelists, the Bibles, the saints, everybody's painted. No statues. The Orthodox Church, the priests, they wear the black robes and they can get married. Catholic priests don't get married. Same faith, different rituals. Of course, many ornaments. This is how Orthodox design is, always ornaments. Guys, check the mosaics from this side. Look at this.
Oh, wow, yeah.
1,000 years old from the Crusader time. Yeah.
Restored.
Of course, yes. I've been above, and the pieces of these mosaics are bigger than the mosaics of the 4th century. These ones, if you look well, these are very small. And these are a little bit bigger. And look at the columns, all of them are painted, soldiers, saints, and kings. This is one of the unique churches around the whole world. But this church wins because it's the oldest active church in the world. Church of Nativity, Bethlehem.
lights
For what?
to stop birds going and eating the cherries.
Yes, yes. Yes. They're quite distinctively. Just didn't know what those were.